Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Now, our very own, our beloved Eddie Hearn, and before I get started, I just want to apologize for not covering more of like Spence and Crawford, what's going on with AB, Keith Thurman, Boots, and those big name fighters over here in the States. It's just so much material right now going on, and I'm so busy with my kids, man, that I can't put out all the videos I want. But this week I'm gonna pump out a lot. But I've been covering a lot about Eddie Hearn and AJ and stuff over there because there's so much juicy material, man. But this one takes the cake. So again, this week I'll get more stuff out about what's going on here stateside. But right now, let's focus on this one. So the word around town is that there's somebody who was running around with the mystery briefcase trying to buy fighters. Now, I don't know who that is, but they say it's a promoter who's very mouthy and who's effed off $1 billion. I don't know what other promoters out there that had $1 billion and was really pushing to try to ink different fighters here stateside and who failed miserably. But anyway, sounds to me like they're talking about Eddie Hearn. So allegedly, now we know there's a lot of corruption in boxing. We know Don King was known for coming to fighters with a briefcase full of money and just giving it to them to get them to take a fight. He did that to Larry Holmes. Showed up at Larry Holmes' house, tried to get him out of retirement. Come on back and fight, Larry. Larry didn't want to do it. Put a briefcase with $500,000 in and said, "Here, this is for you." Larry Holmes took the money, came out, and took the fight. Thirsty, man. So he came out and he took the fight. Okay, so that happened years ago. But who's to say that these approaches and these methods and these ways of getting fighters to sign to your promotional company or to sign to a certain fight, who to say these methods are, these antiquated ways of doing business don't still exist? So it's my understanding that Eddie Hearn tried to hit Gervonta Davis with the briefcase. Now see, this is a rumor, right? Because Deontay Wilder came out and said there's a lot of corruption in boxing. And he didn't want to get into this either, about promoters coming to fighters with briefcases full of money. And that's how they're getting fighters to leave their promoter, their promoters, and coming across to the guy who's giving the money. And he said that's how a lot of these fights are being made, and how sometimes you'll see a certain decision happen within a sanctioning body that doesn't make sense. He's like, because people's palms are being greased. And I said, okay. So Gervonta Davis, if this is true, that Eddie Hearn was parading around with a mystery briefcase, right? It kind of makes sense why Leonard Ellerbe hates this man so much. Remember, he was saying, see, I don't know if you guys have watched the interviews. It's funny as hell to me. Leonard Ellerbe has said on multiple occasions that Eddie Hearn was trying to sign Tank. Eddie Hearn knows what he did. He will not say it, but he said he was coming around Tank and doing some foul-ish. Now that I've heard this rumor that Eddie Hearn tried to sign Tank by giving him a briefcase full of money, millions of dollars in that briefcase is my understanding. When I heard that, I said, man, I can't see her, I just can't see Hearn doing that. But then I said, well, you know what? Hold on a second. Leonard Ellerbe hates this man. And I could never understand why Leonard Ellerbe hated him. I said, why does he get so upset when it comes to Eddie Hearn? Eddie Hearn says he's jealous of him. But Leonard Ellerbe would never say what it was. He would just say he knows. He knows what he's done, what he has done. He's a piece of, ish. So it kind of helps to close that loop of why there's so much like anger towards Eddie Hearn. But let me tell you, I find that comical, man. Eddie Hearn is out here like the great Houdini, the magician, man. Abracadabra, poof, and your fighter's gone. He's over on Matchroom now, and you trying to figure out how the hell did he move him over there? Oh my God, what a joke! So remember, there was a time. So that could help. That could help to explain why Leonard Ellerbe wants, like he said, to basically beat Eddie Hearn's butt and stomp him out. And Eddie Hearn, he doesn't really tolerate the disrespect, but you could tell for a while he would just kind of laugh it off and joke it off. But you can see in some of the more recent videos of Eddie Hearn, you can see, man, the quills have come out. He doesn't like the idea of someone talking about stomping him out and physically assaulting him. He was like, okay, well, he can try it. So you can see that, obviously, Eddie Hearn is human. Things bother him. And he doesn't like the idea of someone wanting, suggesting they're going to assault him and hurt him. And I don't think that's cool either. But it helps, I think it helps me to understand from where all that anger derives from when it comes to Leonard Ellerbe and the whole, everybody, all those fighters, that could make a lot of sense on why so many fighters, look, none of them went over there. Eddie Hearn wasn't able to pick up no PBC fighter. You don't find that odd? All of them are loyal to Al Heyman? Let me tell you one thing, man. They have a saying. Just because I'm dying of thirst, that doesn't mean I'm going to drink from everybody. And that's what's going on here. Yeah, some of these guys here, they were doing all right, don't get me wrong, financially, but in a sense, you could say they were dying of thirst, meaning they weren't making 10, 15, 20 million, 8 million, right? But they were okay. But they weren't just going to drink from Eddie Hearn. So when he came there with the mystery box, the mystery briefcase, and he was like, boom, they thought about it. Because even the Charlos, everybody, Charlo, Wilder, Gervonta, they thought about it, but they couldn't do it. And Deontay entertaining that was short-lived. The Charlos thought about it. They thought about it big time. Big time. Eddie Hearn offered them big money. I think it was Jamal. Big money to fight Andre. But those guys just couldn't do it because they've lost respect for him. When you listen to them talk, no, they don't respect Eddie Hearn. They don't respect him. And none of them have really gone on record to say why they don't really respect him. But it makes sense. If this is true, it kind of makes sense why nobody wanted to mess with him. And then you look at the guy who's gone over. Out of everyone, as far as a big name, right? A really big name. Who's the one person that Eddie Hearn got over there? And how do you get him over there? You got Canelo. So look at it. De La Hoya, Canelo, over there on the zone. Eddie Hearn is today's Don King. Watching, observing, smooth talker, put a little money in you, grease your hand with a little money. Come on over here, brothers. Come on home, brother. And Eddie Hearn was able to get Canelo. And you say, Canelo, just a smart business move. I'm just saying, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm just saying, it doesn't kind of make a little bit more sense on Canelo and De La Hoya and the issues and money issues. And All of a sudden now Canelo wants to get vocal about De La Hoya and not being there and not really running a business and dealing with being drunk and drugs and women and whatever. All of a sudden Canelo has the up and down with De La Hoya, bounces to Eddie Hearn, he's getting paid all this money. So I'm here, man, trying to put on my detective hat. Let me get the detective hat out, right? So now we got the detective hat on. And I'm trying to align the clues and help make sense of what is being rumored about Eddie Hearn with this mystery briefcase. He's not spending that much time in the States anymore because that journey he was on with that checkbook, with that briefcase, right? The briefcase. My hands on the camera. With the briefcase. It's over. And now people are talking about it. But they're very careful on what they're saying. But he almost got one of the Charlos because of the amount of money. They just lowered Al Heyman. He tried to get Earl Spence. Earl Spence shut that down. Tried to get Thurman. Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. He was trying to get them all. But he wasn't able to get them. But he almost got Gervonta Davis. And that's why Floyd and Leonard Ellerbe were so pissed because he it's like he said, we'll offer Tank a very lucrative offer when he becomes a free agent. That's why they hit him with that cease and desist letter. So he can't even talk to Tank. That's why he's very particular about what he says when it comes to Tank. They got them lawyers on him because he tried to get Tank. I figured out, he said, you know what, this is my last effort to try to get a big name over here. Because everything he was doing before that, with these C-level fighters he was bringing on, don't get me wrong, Regis Prograis is a bad boy. But Regis Prograis wasn't one of the first guys he brought over. You know, we're talking about Tevin Farmer. He can fight, but come on, man. Tevin Farmer's no Tank Davis. Tevin Farmer's not Regis Prograis. You know, Tevin Farmer's not Charlo, not Keith Thurman. That Keith Thurman, you know what I mean? Before marriage. So you look at the guys here, what's his name, man? Jesse Vargas. Good fighter. But come on. Paying these guys millions of dollars, man. Okay? So the approach he was trying to use worked for those C-level fighters who weren't really getting shown real love. Lou DiBella had a couple of those guys, and he definitely wasn't handling business the way he should have. But Lou DiBella got his palms greased to let go of these guys. You got to understand, I have you locked into a contract. And I care about you so much that someone's going to come and offer you some money. More money than I can offer you. I'm just going to let you out of my contract. No problem. Hey, because I really care about you and your career. High five. Nice doing business with you. Bye. And I don't get anything. Let me tell you, these guys are break locking with their contracts. Promoters were break locking these contracts with their fighters because they were getting their palms greased with the mystery briefcase. I'm telling you, man. Some of you, that may sound far-fetched. However, I challenge you to stop and look at this with an open mind. Now this is a rumor now. And I'm not one to, kick that down the road. But I mean, hold on. It makes sense. Deontay Wilder. Eddie Hearn could have had Deontay Wilder. But they played him. He could have had Deontay Wilder over on his roster. They didn't go about it the right way. Too much insults. He made a joke about him being, how many people can he get in the stadium and where? Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Like making a joke about Deontay Wilder being from a place, a town called Tuscaloosa in Alabama. You see, he poked a lot of fun at him, almost like suggesting that, Deontay Wilder wasn't very bright because he's from Alabama, from the South. And horrible. That's why we listen to Wilder talk now. He won't say names. He'll say a lot of people didn't want to listen to me. They just figure I was, these are his words now, so don't take it wrong. They figure I was just some, dumb black guy from, the South, from Alabama, and nobody wanted to listen to me. And people try to take advantage of me, thought they could manipulate me. And when he says those things, it catches my ear. You know what I mean? And not necessarily the race thing, but as far as people questioning his intelligence, stuff like that. And I'm gonna tell you that's fact. It has nothing to do with color. If you're from the South, man, with that twang, a lot of people, man, you know, they automatically assume that they question your intelligence. If you're someone from up north, they assume you have a chip on your shoulder and you're an asshole. You know, you come from over on the West Coast somewhere. Depending on the age, people think you're probably gang or something. You know what I mean? So it just depends. You know what I'm saying? Depends on where you're from. It has a lot to do with those things that make you who you are. You know what I'm saying? I forgot what they're called. I used to be able to rattle that stuff off the top of my head. But anyway, man, that's what the word is. Eddie Hearn, man, and if you look at how he's doing business right now, I'm telling you, keep paying attention. It makes it all starting to come clear to me, in my opinion, on why he's doing certain things that he's doing now. Why there's almost certain levels of frustration in him. Why he would cry after an AJ fight. You know, his method didn't work. The whole fishing expedition with a briefcase, it didn't get the job done. He caught some fish, but he didn't catch the one he wanted. You know what I'm saying? He didn't catch the ones he wanted. You know, he went out there trying to catch a nice red snapper, a nice mahi-mahi, a nice tuna, you know what I mean? Kingfish, man. That's what he was trying to catch. This man was catching catfish. Ooh, but he want that shit. You know what I mean? You can't cook that down with no coconut milk, man. He out there with some stinking catfish, man, and bringing that back to the zone guys, man. They do him like his pops does him when he signed AJ up for that Usyk 2 fight. When he came home that night after that second loss, man, well, Barry Hearn was trying to do him like Kenny Porter did Sean Porter. Boy, somebody got their butt beat. But anyway, man, I think I'm going to leave it as that. That's the rumor, man. Eddie Hearn was out here, man, trying to buy Gervonta Davis, Charlo Twins, Thurman Porter, Deontay Wilder. Got through with Canelo. He had something to do with the rift between Canelo and De La Hoya. It's crazy. It's crazy. And these are things that we know happens in boxing. But Wilder went on record. He was very careful about what he said, but I like the fact that Wilder's come back. Because we know Wilder's not afraid to speak his mind, he may not elaborate sometimes, but if you piss him off, beans get spilled. You know they eat a lot of beans in Alabama. So he gonna spill a whole lot of beans. And I wanna know all about it. It's just amazing, man, to know that this kind of stuff is going on. But again, you know, it's a rumor, but it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And Eddie Hearn, though, Eddie Hearn's a smart guy, smart business guy, and I don't think he's doing anything anybody else wouldn't do. But this is one thing. I think sometimes people think when it comes to money, and you get young guys, young boxers, no matter where they're from in the world, when guys are desperate, you know, and somebody puts that kind of money in front of you, doesn't matter what your values are, doesn't matter where your moral compass is pointed. If you're looking at your family, you're looking at your children, you're looking at mom and pops, and if you can improve their situation, and somebody puts a briefcase of money in front of you, it's hard to turn that down. You know what I'm saying? And bet on yourself. So who knows, and I'm not just saying Eddie Hearn, who knows what promoters were able to get through to guys and, you know, get them over here on these horrible contracts, but they gave them this cash up front. Right? And now they're over here and they're fighting and they just end up with nothing. But up front, they got this load of money. But in their fights, they're probably only keeping 10% of their purse. You see? So this goes way, way deeper than just Eddie Hearn out here with the mystery briefcase and me making jokes about it. You know what I'm saying? It really is sad. Because I'll be honest, man, if I was a fighter coming out of wherever, and I know dirt floors, galvanized roof, cooking an open fire. You know what I'm saying? Gotta go in the back to an outhouse, get water from a standpipe down at the end of the road. This is real shit I'm talking because I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? That is, and I have a talent. I have a skill, and somebody want to pay me for my skill, and they give me money up front. It'd be hard for me to turn that down, knowing that what I can do immediately for my family. Contracts and all that, sometimes, man, you know, you don't get to understand. You just want, they put that money in front of you, take it. Then you go, you sign some papers, next thing they signed your life away, you know? And it's just horrible. But we'll see if they actually put a name of who's been rumored to have the mystery briefcase. But supposedly it's somebody who had $1 billion and effed it off, is what they say. There's only one guy I know who was put in a position like that, and that's Fast Eddie, Jabberjaw. And I like Eddie Hearn. And hey man, you guys like boxing, you guys like listening to these videos, and this is entertaining, man. But I don't know. Do you believe that to be true? Or do you think it's just people out here talking about their backside? But they were very specific. Deontay Wilder mentioned something, and then there's some rumors floating around here that I've been reading about a guy, $1 billion, effed it off. And it makes it, to me, it kind of makes sense, but then again, people are very careful about what they say, you know, and because they know there can be a lawsuit, because then again, it'd be hard to prove that happened. But it kind of makes sense to me. And if you look at Eddie Hearn right now, man, things are kind of falling apart. Put it to you this way, AJ lost, right? AJ's still a draw. Let's just be real. AJ's still an amazing fighter. If AJ comes out here and they put him in there with Dillian White, right? AJ should tear him out the frame. But if Dillian White knocks AJ out, what's Eddie Hearn going to do? When I think 50% of the matchroom revenue is based on AJ's performance. Canelo, he's going to lose to Triple G unless they rob him. And by the way, they tried to rob Usyk this weekend by giving one of them scorecards. Let me tell you, if Joshua would have just threw like 10 more punches, rounds 10, 11, and 12, they would have robbed Usyk. Okay? It's just AJ didn't do enough for those refs to justify robbing Usyk. So he lost his right to complain. But the stars had lined up for AJ to win that fight. For him to win on one of those scorecards, and look how close those scores were, they were going to rob Usyk. Okay? Just like with Canelo and Bivol. Pay attention, people. It's not me just talking crazy. Just because I got the mystery hat on. They were going to rob Bivol, man. So now Canelo's coming to fight Triple G. They robbed Triple G twice. Yeah, he wasn't on the zone at the time. Was he? Was Canelo with the zone at the time, the first and second Triple G fight? I can't remember. But you better believe Triple G, although he signed with the zone too, he's on his way out. He's old. He out of here. He's talking about this maybe his retirement fights. But they're going to try to rob Triple G. But I think Triple G is going to... Canelo has a good chin, but I think Triple G is just going to beat him down. But they're going to try to rob Triple G. But Canelo should lose that fight. And then Canelo's going in there with Bivol. I already said this. And let me tell you, Bivol is going to beat his ass. But don't be surprised if they rob Triple G and rob Bivol. Because Eddie Hearn cannot allow that to happen. And you can say, wow, man, you're talking shit. How Eddie Hearn just going to miraculously line things up for Canelo to beat Triple G and beat Bivol? He's a promoter. Who do you think puts up the money for these judges? These referees? Huh? All these different, paying these fees, these sanctioning bodies, when they're having these conferences. Who do you think is there? Rubbing elbows, networking with the sanctioning bodies and the refs around. That's why promoters shouldn't be going to these things. But that's where they go there and things start happening. All of a sudden, boom, mystery briefcase. Slide a little bit to the referee. Slide a little bit to the judges. And we go to the restroom. You taking a leak, you shake your wood. With the other hand, you shake my hand. And then I put a little 200,000 in your hand. And we come out of there nobody's seen anything. It's crazy, man. These are things that I hear about in some of these chat groups. These are things I read about. That's why they said they don't want promoters going to any of these events involving sanctioning bodies, referee conferences, judge conferences, none of that. They don't want them there. But they show up there. And they're trying to put things in place to where promoters can't attend those things. And that's where a lot of the business happens. I'm not making this up. This is a fact, man. But I'm going to leave y'all with that because I gave you a lot to digest. But anyway, thanks for your support. I appreciate everybody, man. Man, the subscribers, man, number is bubbling up, man. I think within a month, 2 months, man, within a month and a half, we should be at 1,000, man. Then we can really get things interesting, man. I'll try to format things the right way with streaming and and all that stuff, and try to make this really interactive, man, because there are a lot of very intelligent people who have subscribed to this channel, and I try to respond to most of them. It gets hard, man, especially now, but a lot of intelligent people, a lot of people who follow boxing and can intelligently speak to boxing. But at the same time, man, I like to have fun too. But we're gonna see where we can take this. But if you know anything about Eddie Hearn, the mystery briefcase, and who's actually the one out there doing it, my understanding, he really was trying to get at Gervonta. That's the latest one. That's the one where he almost got him, and that's why Leonard Ellerbe, if he could, he would kill him, Eddie Hearn. But you can't go and say stuff like that. But that's why they have that. Eddie Hearn's so afraid to talk about Gervonta Davis because they got those lawyers involved, and I don't know what was written in that letter, but it was something with very strong language, and I don't mean profanity, but something that made Eddie Hearn squirm. So we're not going to see him probably making any more attempts to come out there with the briefcase and steal people's fighters. But that being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans. I appreciate your support. Almost to 1,000. And as always, I'm in the breeze.